How you doing, guys? Welcome to the YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Um, I want to talk about the questions that people ask about being a HTML and email developer. Um, I started my journey maybe a little bit over 2 years ago. Saw this guy by the name of Coding Phase on YouTube, and he pretty much was talking about you can make pretty decent income working on HTML development position. And I didn't, like I said, didn't know what it was. I knew about email marketing a little bit, but not much through Mailchimp. But I started looking into it because when he kept mentioning HTML and CSS was all you need, I kind of already knew that from years ago of building a website. So I just jumped in, and it was a journey. But let's start with the questions. Question is, are you a self-taught developer? Um, yes, as far as HTML and CSS, I am. Again, 2009, I built a website. Took me like 3 or 4 months with HTML and CSS. I went and I bought a book off Amazon. It's kind of behind me on the shelf right here. And I built a website, but it took me a long time. So then I ran into WordPress, which is more easier, less coding, as far as just a simple template. And the next thing you know, I didn't learn HTML and CSS anymore. Um, I kind of customized the website, WordPress website with it, so I vaguely used it like I did when I was building a full HTML, CSS website. So to be honest, I should have just kept studying it and learning more about HTML and CSS. But went to WordPress and didn't look back for a while. So what other languages would you recommend, especially in 2022? Is our next question. Um, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for sure. Those are the ones like I would call those entry level languages to get into. And then there's React as well. That's another one that I see a lot. But those are the ones that I would start off with, to be honest. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. And there's other languages as well. But I mean, there's no particular order. It's this is just my opinion of what I would start out with. Now, in case you want to know what is an email developer is, which I knew, but I didn't really know. But I'll explain. But it says an email developer designs and builds email blasts for clients and marketing teams. And this career, your duties primarily revolve around creating templates in HTML. This involves having an eye for visual design as well as technical capability for coding. Now, what happened with me was I said, okay, I know HTML and CSS, but I didn't know tables. So a lot of people don't like tables. They say it's an old language, but it still renders very good when you're testing HTML emails. So that's why they still use it. And it took me a while to get a job, and the reason is because I looked at HTML email developer as just coding strictly coding, nothing else. Um, didn't know when I started going on interviews that they were asking me automation questions. They was asking me about Salesforce. Oh man, I heard Salesforce like all the time, constantly, and I didn't know Salesforce. I just knew how to build emails, through HTML, CSS, and through tables, and create a portfolio, but didn't know the language as far as interviewing with people. Didn't know the language at all. Some questions they asked me, I had no clue. So that's what took me many months to get a position. Other than I also wanted to be 100% remote. That's another thing. And again, I just thought you can just go in and just code emails. Now, there are a few jobs out there that only want you to code HTML emails, but for the most part, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to code the emails also, as well as learn email automations and whether it be Pardo. I'm using that. I'm using ACM, and I think like I say, Salesforce out there, Marketo. There's different ESPs, but you also have to learn that and answer those questions as well. So I hope this helps somebody. You just can't build a portfolio, learn how to code, and that be it. You have to learn the questions and learn automation also as well, marketing automation and cloud information, all those things. Or you're going to be like me, you're going to be stuck when it comes to those questions. The next question is, do I only need HTML and CSS for HTML email development? Yes, pretty much. Pretty much. That's all you need. But again, if I were you, I would learn a little bit more of the basic JavaScript language as well. Um, that's what I've been trying to learn. I learned some of it, but not much. But you don't have to learn be an expert at it. You just have to learn the basics. Um, I think you could just learn the basics of HTML and CSS to get an email developer position. Um, that's because you don't really have to build them out from scratch for the most part, unless it's a smaller agency. But most companies already have their layouts. But yeah, you definitely can get an email development job with HTML and CSS language. What should I learn? Email development. Okay, you have a coding phase. The guy I told you that popped up on my screen one day, and here I am with a job now. You also have Ivan Hurt. He's like a mentor to me. He helped me a lot tremendously. Good guy. I tried to pay him money. He wouldn't take it, but he helped me out a lot. Every time I email, he would email me back. And I subscribe to his channel as well. And he is good at about answering questions in the comments as well. Um, then you got W3 Newbie. That's a YouTube channel as well. This guy, he shows you how to build out the HTML templates, through tables. So he also has a course on Udemy as well. About that course, that's kind of how I started learning how to do HTML and CSS through tables. And you also have this website. It's called NN9CL, and they have information as well on how to learn email development. But then again, I'll have all these links in the description below. But yeah, these are people that I would start off with. Now, coding phase he will help you get a job with his courses and everything. Uh, like I said, he helped me get a job as well. I didn't use his course, but I did look at enough of his YouTube videos because I knew a lot of stuff already in his courses. So he will show you how to look for jobs, where to look for jobs, and the keywords and everything. And that's kind of what got me over the top. So the next question is Salesforce something I should learn in HTML email development? I'm gonna say you don't need it, but you should learn it because I learned HTML email development, but you saw what happened when I was going on a job. Everybody was asking me about Salesforce, Marketo. Um, it's another one out there they also asked me about. But all these email automations software, they were asking me those questions. So all the other questions I were cool with, but when they got to those type of questions, yeah, they know I didn't have much experience as email automation. So that's kind of where it stopped at right there. So yes, I would learn Salesforce. I'm not saying you don't even have to have the certification. You just need to learn Salesforce and learn how to navigate it and learn the language of Salesforce, and you should be fine. Next question is, do they hire email development remotely? Yes, they do. I'm currently working from home, 100% remote. The people on my job are 100% remote. They're all over the country and all over the world. So yeah, they do. Now you have some companies that go hybrid. You got some companies that want you to come in, 100%. But yes, it's a variety though. It is a variety. But yes, they do work 100% remote. Again, I probably would have had a job easier or quicker if I, didn't mind working in the office or commuting, but I didn't want to do that. So it probably took me a little bit longer to get HTML email developer position. But yes, 100% remote, they do have those. Next question is, how long will it take me to become an email developer if I know nothing about code? Man, that depends on you, really. It depends on how much you want to hustle, how much you want to, grind or whatever. Um, in my opinion, I'd say like three to 5 months maybe. Again, I was working on my HTML CSS website 2009 for like 3 months. I only built four pages, but it was a full website. But man, it took me 3 or 4 months. But by that time, I had grasped the concept of HTML and not CSS really HTML on opening and closing tags. CSS, I kind of know how to get around it a little bit, but I really learned the concept of HTML through those 3 months. So I'm gonna say about 3 to 5 months, maybe 6. But it depends on you, how much you're gonna be grinding and trying to learn the language. So it's kind of an opinion question, but again, 3 to 6 months, you should be good. Next question is, after coding and testing, do I send a campaign? Who do I send a campaign to? I think that's what it says. Are there some other ways somebody else will do the sending? Okay, they're asking, after I finish coding, will I be the one sending out or testing the email template? If you're at a smaller agency, you probably will be doing all of the above: coding, testing, and emailing the emails out. But at bigger firms, you're probably going to be doing one of the three. You know, you have somebody that tested, have somebody to code it, have somebody to test it, and then you could have somebody that send it out. Now, at my firm, I think they want us to learn all three phases. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to be doing all three phases at the same time. Sometimes somebody else may code it, and sometimes they may want me to trigger the email and send it out. Sometimes they might want somebody else to test it and want me to code it. So this how it kind of works at my company where I work at now. You have different people that have different hands on different duties. So you may be doing different ones. If you work at a big firm, you probably be doing all three at different times, but not all at one time. Like I said, it's a team effort, so I'm not sure you're going to be doing all three of them by yourself, just on one project. The next question is, what is HTML table based coding? Well, that's again, it's an outdated way of coding layouts for email. They use it a lot because, like I said, it's more compatible. Um, you know, and it helps render email clients better. If there was anything better out there, I think they would use that. But they have different softwares that you could go in and code emails and just drag and drop. But to be precise with the coding and everything, HTML tables they're just best for HTML emails. Yes, does it look outdated? Yes, it does, but it renders better when you send that email out and it shows up in the subscriber's email. It just look better and look cleaner if you just use HTML tables. So that's why they use it. Next question is, do you work 9 to 5 as an email developer? Or is it a job you can work remotely and have multiple email developer jobs? I work 9 to 5, preferably 9 to 6 daily as an email developer, yes. HTML. Well, my job is called HTML developer, but same thing. I've heard a guy say on coding phase that, I heard Joe on coding phase said this guy that had 2 jobs, getting paid $200,000, $100,000 on one job, email developer job, or another $100,000 on the other job. To be honest, I would say it depends on your learning curve and the training. If you have a lot of downtime on your job, maybe you can on one job, maybe you could try to work another HTML development job, but I don't know. It just depends on how much time you have downtime on one job opposed to other. Also, how many meetings you have, because some jobs have a lot of meetings. So how can you train and focus on another job without, um, working your first job that you started? I had two jobs, with my email developer position, but it was mostly, I'd say, production based job that I had. So I didn't have to talk to nobody. It was more like data entry. So I was able to meet my quota and still, work my email development job through my data entry. But would I recommend you try to have two email development jobs? Not to begin with. You got to get comfortable and real good with what's going on with your first job, and then once you get comfortable and um, you know knowledgeable about your first email development job, then I'd say go for it. As long as you have the downtime to work both jobs without them interfering with each other. Again, guys, um, this email development journey, it was not easy for me because I didn't know the language of the email automation questions. I stressed that out to you guys a lot, a lot. I was having 3 interviews a week for like maybe 3 months, and I was having so many interviews I couldn't keep up with them, but I didn't know the language. Of course, if you know the how to code, they're gonna know that by looking at your resume. And your portfolio, they're gonna know about that. But that wasn't what held me back. What held me back was the questions on email automations, marketing, mostly. What would I do? How would I solve this problem with email automations? That's where they were getting me at. And it didn't dawn in my head. I don't know why. I just should have known. Like, well, you need to start learning the questions and things. But I'm thinking, well, they just want me for email development and coding. That's it. But even when they were telling me, mentioning Salesforce all the time, I did eventually start learning it. But I just kept trying to get an interview and get a job without learning that code or even speaking that language to them at all. And that's not the way you do it. You have to learn how to code emails and learn email automations and the email cloud that they're using and the questions that they ask. You got to have the answers for those. Other than that, it's going to be a long road like it was with me. So the last question is: does email development requires the companies require you to build email templates from scratch? Most of them don't, because they already got their layout. The bigger the company, the more templates they already gonna have laid out. So all you have to do is replace the text with their text, replace the images with their images, and the links as well. And that's pretty much it. They go by modules like module 1, module 2, module 3, and you just go in. Sometimes module 4, you just go in and replace the text that they want. They'll give you a spreadsheet with everything on it. You replace the text, the links, and they'll send you the emails in the folders. Sometimes the images, I'm sorry, in the folders. Sometimes you got to cut up the images. I got to cut up the images myself in Photoshop. But no, to be honest, the most places you have to probably code from scratch is small agencies, because small agencies don't have the budget like that, so they rather you create them for them from scratch, and they're probably going to hold on to those email templates long after you're gone, and then probably start using them, in rotation again. But nope, most of these big companies that you probably want to work for, they got their email templates laid out, ready to go. You just plug and play, switch out the content, switch out the links, switch out the images. I say also the alt words that you got to put in. But that's about it. So, but then again, guys, like I said, please learn the email automations. Now this is how I got my job. I got my job by Googling, um, um, I guess, agency questions, I guess. And I remember looking at the different questions, and then this one question came up. I think it was something about how would I solve this, how I would do that. And when I went on my interview the next day, I actually remembered it. Didn't even think I was gonna remember it. I almost said it almost word for word verbatim, which was kind of shocking to me. And that's kind of how I got the job. Well, in my opinion, but I think that's how I got the job, by answering that question. And that was a question I couldn't answer. So you might want to Google, you know, interview questions for email HTML email developer or any agency questions. But you must learn how to answer email automations questions, especially when they ask you how would you solve this problem. Again, guys, I'm an HTML email developer now. Took me like maybe 9 months or more. I'm gonna say 9 because I didn't get serious for 3 months. If you have any more questions in the comments below, please ask them. Do not hesitate, and I will come back with the best answer that I can give you. Take care.